Now we've opened the model in ERwin. I'm actually zoomed in here, but if we zoom out, we'll see all those relationship lines and all those tables. You may want to break this up further into subject areas within the ERwin as well if you want to have more granularity for reporting purposes. But in this case, we're just going to zoom in on a small area of the model. And let's zoom in some more so the font is readable. And now we see these nice logical names in our design. We toggle over to the physical side of the diagram, and we still see those physical names, so we can see the correlation between those objects. We can also select an object here from the tree, and we can go to that object in our table. We can navigate to the parent via the relationship lines. We can also navigate those same relationship lines within the Model Explorer as well. And we can report on these objects. So if we go to our data browser, let me minimize this a bit. In the data browser, I've created this entity description report, which is reporting mostly on the logical side, but you'll see that here's the entity name, here's the entity definition. This table class is T, which might be useful for analysis later on. These are the attribute names. These are the corresponding table names, or column names, I should say. And these are their data types. And there's much more information that can be used here for analysis. And then once you have this report generated, you can actually export that as an HTML report, or as a CSV file, or via DDE, for example. And there's many options you can do there. As well, you can use the other ERwin features, such as Complete Compare, which would actually allow you to compare two different models that were built from two different ERP systems, and you can see the differences there using the logical names, which is much more useful than trying to identify these physical names for translation. And the Complete Compare option also will allow you to generate different kinds of reports, such as PDFs for reporting. So once you've identified those objects, you can then generate a PDF or an HTML and share it with the rest of the team for further analysis. Meanwhile, back in the Saphir tool itself, these subject areas, once they've been created, can not only be saved into this repository, but they can be exported, where their membership can actually be saved as an offline. It's just a text-based file, and you can actually share that with other users who also have Saphir. So for example, if you'd like to have them build the same subject areas, they can do that. You can share them within repositories that you've built. You can share them with others that may, for example, may have a repository in a different language. You'll notice down here in the lower right corner, this is language is E, which is English. But when you actually build your SAP repository, or the Saphir repository, I should say, you can actually specify multiple languages. There's many languages that are French, German, many others that are supported. And what you can do there is you can actually do the same extraction. It'll build the repository in that language. So now if you have an international team, for example, they can have a repository built for analysis in their native language, and you can still share your ideas. You give them your subject area list of membership. These are the modules we're looking at, the tables we're looking at. They can build the same subject areas and see the logical names in French or in Spanish, etc. So that's another useful information or a useful usage for large corporations. The Saphir software will actually run on Windows 95 all the way up to the current Windows 7, although Windows 7 is not listed on this slide, but it is supported. And the database platforms on which the Saphir repository can actually reside are any Oracle, DB2, SQL Server, Sybase, or SQL Anywhere repository. As far as extracting from your ERP database platforms, Oracle, DB2, and Formex SQL Server are all supported natively, and all others are supported also via an ODBC connection. And the SAP versions themselves that are supported are 3.1 all the way up to the most current version. There are new versions of Saphir that come out regularly, and there should be no problems with currency. And the BW 2.0 and above as well. And these others listed here are the supported other ERP repositories that are also supported by the Saphir extraction. And I hope that was informative. This concludes our presentation, and I hope you do decide to use the Saphir tool. It's very powerful, and using it with the ERwin functionality can be very useful for analysis, for reporting, for comparison, and for implementing your SAP environment. And I hope to hear from you soon.